The United States Navy has just confirmed something that will change the nature of naval warfare forever. Last month, Vice Admiral Daniel Chever stood before top military leaders and made a promise that sent shockwaves through the global defense community. He declared that the MQ-25 Stingray will take flight in 2025, and by the following year, 2026, this unmanned aircraft will begin operating directly from American aircraft carriers. This wasn't just another routine announcement, it was a turning point, the dawn of a new era in modern military history, the era of unmanned carrier aviation. What was once considered a far-off dream has now become reality, and it's happening much faster than anyone ever expected. Five major U.S. defense contractors have received multi-billion-dollar contracts to develop autonomous escort drones known as loyal wingmen, unmanned systems designed to fly alongside human pilots in combat missions. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Turkey has already proven that this concept works. Its TB-3 drone successfully took off and landed on a moving ship entirely without human assistance. Now China is racing to catch up. The drone carrier era isn't something that's coming. It's already here. This transformation marks the greatest change in naval aviation since jets first landed on carrier decks in the 1940s. The U.S. Navy isn't simply adding drones to its air fleet. It's completely redefining how America projects power across the world's oceans. And it all begins with the MQ-25 Stingray, an ambitious project representing something the U.S. military has never done before on such a massive scale. The MQ-25 isn't a small reconnaissance drone launched by Catapult. It's nearly the size of an FA-18 Super Hornet, with a wingspan comparable to an E-2 Hawkeye. Boeing has spent years developing this unmanned aerial refueling tanker, overcoming numerous technical and production challenges. The shift from 2025 to 2026 wasn't due to issues with the aircraft itself, but because of the time required to build an entirely new production line capable of mass-producing a drone this large and complex. In fact, about 20 to 30% of Super Hornet flight missions are currently used just for refueling other aircraft midair. That means many jets designed for combat spend their time acting as flying gas stations. The MQ-25 changes that dynamic completely. One Stingray can carry up to 15,000 pounds of fuel and fly 500 nautical miles from the carrier, refueling 4 to 6 fighters in a single mission before returning to repeat the process. With this capability, every manned aircraft can now reach farther into enemy territory, stay airborne longer, and strike deeper without relying entirely on land-based support. The USS George H.W. Bush has become the first carrier equipped with an unmanned aviation operations center, a high-tech command hub capable of controlling multiple drones simultaneously from hundreds of miles away. The control system was developed by Lockheed Martin's legendary Skunk Works team, the same group behind the SR-71 Blackbird and the F-117 Nighthawk. A major breakthrough came in November 2024 when Navy operators successfully controlled an MQ-20 Avenger drone from a moving aircraft carrier via live satellite link. It was the first time in history that a military drone had been remotely operated in real time from a carrier at sea. A historic milestone proving that carrier-based unmanned operations are no longer theoretical, but real. But the Stingray is only the beginning of something much larger. In September 2025, the U.S. Navy announced an even bolder plan. 5 defense giants, Anduril, Boeing, General Atomics, Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed Martin, received contracts to develop a new generation of autonomous combat drones called loyal wingmen, specifically designed for carrier operations. General Atomics is already testing its YFQ-42A for the Air Force, while Anduril is developing the YFQ-44A. Boeing brings experience from the MQ-25 project, and Northrop Grumman draws on its X-47B legacy, the first drone ever to land automatically on a carrier back in 2013. The Navy's requirements are ambitious. Each drone must cost under $15 million, far cheaper than a manned fighter jet. This lower cost enables a completely new approach to aerial warfare. Drones are no longer precious assets that must always be saved. They can be expendable if needed. These aircraft are built for a few hundred flight hours before being replaced, allowing for rapid, large-scale production. Imagine this. When a U.S. carrier strike group faces heavy threats, commanders could launch dozens or even hundreds of autonomous combat drones to attack enemy air defenses, conduct reconnaissance, or strike directly. If some are lost, no pilots die, no years of experience vanish. The mission continues, and American combat power remains intact. Still, landing on a carrier remains one of the most challenging feats in aviation. The flight deck is only about 300 feet long, constantly pitching with the waves, and the winds change direction every second. Human pilots train for years to do it safely. Now, autonomous systems must execute that same maneuver perfectly every time. The X-47B project proved that drones can launch and land autonomously on carriers. Now the MQ-25 and Loyal Wingman programs are taking it to the next level, capable of combat missions, mid-air refueling, and long-range operations even in harsh weather. To make it possible, the entire carrier communication network has been redesigned. These drones rely on satellite-based control, advanced encryption, and artificial intelligence capable of making split-second tactical decisions without human input. Soon, a single operator will control multiple drones at once, completely transforming the way naval warfare is conducted. A future carrier that can launch hundreds of combat drones spread across thousands of miles of ocean, sharing data in real time and attacking in perfect coordination. That's no longer science fiction. That's the U.S. Navy's real future. The strategic advantage of this technology isn't just in firepower, it's in efficiency. Carrier operations have always been limited by human endurance. Pilots need rest, food, and rotation. Drones don't. They can operate continuously as long as the ship's systems keep them running. In a potential Pacific conflict, this becomes a decisive edge. If tensions with China escalate, U.S. carriers could operate nonstop for months, while drones fight tirelessly day and night. The economic advantage is just as clear. Training a Navy fighter pilot takes years and millions of dollars, while drone operators can be trained faster and more cheaply through simulators. Meanwhile, other nations are advancing too. Turkey became the first to actually operate drones from a naval vessel when its TB-3 took off and landed autonomously on the TCG Anadolu in November 2024. China is racing ahead as well, developing wide-wing drones for its Fujian carrier, which uses electromagnetic catapults. This global competition has forced the United States to accelerate its efforts to stay ahead. The 5 major defense contractors are now racing to build the next generation of naval aviation, ensuring that America's drone carriers remain the most powerful in the world. But all this progress comes with one massive challenge: integrating humans and machines. Each autonomous fighter must be equipped with artificial intelligence smart enough to distinguish friend from foe, recognize threats, and make life or death decisions in accordance with combat rules, all without endangering friendly forces. The Navy's long-term vision is clear: to create seamless synergy between man and machine. In the near future, F-35Cs will fly alongside Loyal Wingman drones, sharing data, extending strike range, and protecting each other. When a mission becomes too dangerous for human pilots, the drones will continue alone. The carriers of tomorrow may look different: smaller, cheaper, but packed with far more unmanned aircraft. All built for one purpose: to preserve America's naval dominance for decades to come. From the age of steam, to nuclear power, to precision-guided weapons, the U.S. Navy has always adapted to the changing tides of history. Now, drone carriers mark the next chapter in that evolution. And for the sailors serving at sea, this technology means one thing above all: they will be safer, stronger, and more prepared for a future where wars are no longer won by human courage alone, but also by the intelligence of machines.